Hello, everybody. This is Andrew McNeil, host of the McSquared podcast. Welcome to episode 49. I am joined this evening by my good friend and co-host, Jimmy McKenna. And we decided, for those of you watching on YouTube, we decided to do a new outdoor venue on a front porch in downtown Terre Haute. So we've got a jam-packed show for you today. And we're going to find out together how jam-packed it is.
Let's go.
I got a fire in me. You're gonna set to burn. We got a world to see.
All right. So, how's it been going, Andrew?
It's been going great, Jimmy.
Great.
And the crazy thing is, we like a couple days before this episode, before we recorded this, we decided to join the 21st century, and I got these little wireless mics.
Yeah,
and I'm so excited about it.
Super.
I mean, I'm really excited about it. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, we can go anywhere now. Not that we want to go anywhere, but
we're going to my porch first.
Yes, we are. So, and I got really tired. I apologize for the gray wall background from the last podcast. No one cares. I know no one cares, but it did. So I'm like, it's a little drab, and it's.
I thought it was nice.
Nice. So Jimmy's porch is nice, and also Jimmy lives on a street that is not as busy as the street I live on. So we had thought about using my front porch.
We'll find out.
And it's kind of busy. So hopefully the mics take care of the noise and everything. So let's see. First up, I've kind of avoided this conversation for a while.
Okay.
But it is all in the news, and it is a topic that I'm not really sure, like totally what my opinion is. But we're going to talk about flock cameras.
Oh gosh, okay. It's been in the news for a while.
It has,
even as of today.
Yeah.
Like, if you call Terre Haute Vice News.
Well, I mean
people look at it. So,
I mean, it's
kind of the news.
I mean, think about it. Our regular news channels, not to knock them, that's just very generic. It's very, very canned news stories generally, and you're not going to get anything really that negative about the city of Terre Haute, and not that we're looking for that, obviously, because nobody wants anything that negative, but you don't want a filter on what actually is happening. So apparently, I've talked to an ex-cop to get the lowdown on the Terre Haute situation. I've looked around a little bit, online and what other folks are saying. And then Todd Rokita, the Attorney General of Indiana, actually was on WIBC. I believe it was this morning. I believe it was this morning's segment. It talked in depth about flock cameras. And I saw, just before we went on here, I saw a synopsis basically of what he's saying. And it's probably kind of in line with what I'm thinking, but... So basically, flock cameras have been around for a long time. I didn't know that.
Oh, they've probably been mounted to stoplights and whatnot.
Yeah. So Terre Haute's had them for a very long time. But what has changed is apparently there's been a lot of grant money for a lot of these municipalities to start ramping the placement of them up and kind of ramping up the use of flock cameras. And I mean, I don't have the number. I've seen a chart of where they are. It's now it's starting to blanket all the town. And
84 counties of the 92 in the state of Indiana
have flock cameras.
Yeah.
Are they increasing the placement though? That's the thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think in urban-ish areas like Terre Haute.
Some more and more.
I mean, yeah, there was talk today about they placed one at Terre Haute North, and right down the street from here at Woodrow Wilson, we noticed a couple pop up at the Woodrow Wilson Middle School. They're interesting flock cameras down here though, because they have, and you'll know one by, it'll be a black pole. On the top will be a flat solar panel, and they're usually placed somewhat close to the road. But the one down here is interesting because it has two cameras on it. And that's something I don't think anybody's talked a lot about. It's got two cameras facing the same direction. So I thought, okay, well, the initial you would think, you would put them opposite directions or kind of, 90-degree angle so you can look down different roads, but they're actually facing the same direction. So I did a little bit of research last night. I haven't looked specifically at the type on that because it's kind of high and I don't want to be like snooping around it. Although they do say it's full of 25 pounds of copper is what they're saying,
Oh,
which is a lot. It's an absolute
that's
lie.
not
It's to get
good.
people to take them down. It's ridiculous.
Oh,
But
okay,
okay.
gotcha.
But anyway, so they're facing the same direction. What I was looking is that they do have that option to read license plates, and like one type of camera does. The other one actually could be live feed. So it could be,
Really?
yeah. And so I don't know if that's the situation here at Woodrow Wilson School. It's just on the northwest side of the track, but they're facing the same direction. So why would you have two cameras facing the same direction unless they were doing two different types of we could call it surveillance.
If you're watching this video and you got an answer for us, put the answer in the comments. We'd love to hear what that might be about. So the big debate obviously is this an invasion of privacy? Is this a violation of constitutional rights? And should we or can we get a party to ban them, basically? And then the flip side, and I've heard from law enforcement, is that it's been very useful in catching all kinds of criminals, especially if you've got missing persons cases or where you can establish a pattern of moving through a county or moving through a city. You've got an idea of a timestamp. You've also got an idea where so and so is headed or last sighted. So it's been very useful in crime and all that sort of stuff. And then they make the argument that it's no different than a police officer standing at the street corner watching.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah.
Which of course that's not actually true, because even though the cop may be seeing something, or maybe they can even see off their dash cam.
Yeah.
They're not constantly recording and keeping data and being absolutely 100% accurate like a camera is or recorded. So I think, personally, I don't think you're going to be able to ban them. I do not think you're going to be able to get rid of them. But I do think we've got to find, it's kind of what Rakita was saying this morning, you've got to find a line where there's a protection of people's right of privacy, whether it's deleting the data after a shorter period of time than what they keep.
Yeah.
Whether it's just some way to put teeth to the fact that we don't want cops being able to just scroll and look for and find folks who
what are they going to find though,
who aren't necessarily
well.
And so then I've heard that
I'm just
but I've heard that too.
Like,
hey, I'm not doing anything wrong, so I don't care. Well, the problem is they're building the infrastructure for a surveillance state. And once they do that, then they can change the rules like they did during COVID. I mean, they didn't even pass laws during COVID.
Yeah.
They just said it's illegal. I mean, I don't know how they managed to say it, but it's illegal for you to have so many people at your house, or to have a large gathering of people, or for you to leave your house without a mask, or all these things that they just somehow became these really important rules. And once you have a mass surveillance state, you don't need your neighbor to snitch because they already know. And that's the kind of thing we really don't want to find ourselves in a mass surveillance state, kind of like we already are, but any worse than we are without protections legally, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I've heard some people say that everybody carries a cell phone, and so you're already being tracked by your cell phone. The interesting thing about cell phone, though, in my research that I did, is that you have to have a court order to track someone's cell phone.
Right.
To ping a cell phone, you do not have to have a court order to review the flock cameras.
Right.
And so there's a lot of lawsuits going on throughout the country, like within the last month.
Yeah.
With flock cameras, and I think it's just because it's coming up more and more. A few different times, people have been wrongly accused because they were the flock camera. They're not perfect.
I saw that,
and they could transpose some license plates numbers, and then they say you were there, and you say I wasn't there. Now,
or facial recognition. On one case, a facial recognition tagged this lady as being somewhere near the crime or whatever, and because she had her own Ring camera showing she wasn't.
I got you.
I mean, the cops were there to arrest her,
Yeah.
and they figured out that somehow it was someone who looked similar to her. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just,
Yeah, and maybe that was like in the front end of the facial recognition because it
it's just recently, I
should be
think.
good enough. But
Yeah, but see that
supposedly they're not
again.
using it for facial recognition.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't think that, from what I understand, at least in Indiana, I don't think that they use it to convict anyone. I don't think, because you're right. It's kind of an unlawful search,
Yeah.
but they do use it to get probable cause in their mind,
Yeah.
to where, they're tracking someone, or they can say, okay, so and so went here and there. So then, I mean, then you can have a physical stakeout, or you can have a way to confirm that information.
Yeah.
It points you in the right direction. I don't have a problem. I think we all want law enforcement to be able to be effective at catching criminals who are bad criminals. But I mean, the news story a couple of weeks ago was Wisconsin. Was it Wisconsin? Was tracking some guy because he kept crossing state lines. Well, he crossed state lines to go buy marijuana and bring it back. It wasn't legal where he was at to have it, but
Yeah.
he would cross state lines and they arrested him and arrested him on the basis of his pattern on flock camera. And the cop I was talking to was not happy about that, because it's going to trigger a court case. The guy's going to sue and probably win, because that's not really, I mean, that's the line I don't think anybody wants. We don't want Big Brother watching everything we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, for misdemeanors and things. And, Ayn Rand, who wrote Atlas Shrugged. Have you ever read that book?
Mm-mm.
It's that big. I mean, it's ridiculous. I didn't
that
even
definitely
finish
means
it.
I haven't read it.
And they did a couple movies on it, and I like, for conservatives, and she's actually more maybe libertarian, but for conservatives, it's an important book, but it's got adult stuff through the middle of it that makes it kind of like, I would never recommend it for school kids, but it's a classic. It was written in the 50s, I think. But it's got it's basically a thesis on socialism, and it talks about how the government would increase the laws until, if you weren't a criminal, they would just increase the laws until everyone became a criminal. As the laws increase, it just becomes almost impossible not to be a lawbreaker.
Hmm.
And that's the sign of an oppressive society. And so when you get into being able then to immediately be able to, find out whether or not I mean, whatever it is, smoking cigarettes, how bad that is. It's so terrible. I mean, maybe you're smoking cigarettes on your front porch in an area you're not allowed to. I mean, just things like, there's just trivial stuff that really is not the government's business to be messing with. And I think that's the safeguards that we're supposed to have in the Constitution. And hopefully we get to that balance where we are able to correctly, not, get apprehend the criminals, prosecute them, but at the same time leave people alone.
Yeah, and that's where the enemy really showed up during COVID. And I'm not saying not the enemy as the government at all. I'm just saying, our battle is not flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. So the spiritual battle, that's where the enemy showed his hand, was starting to push those different laws and those things that were just pushed upon the people without any kind of process at all.
Yeah, because they weren't actually laws.
No, they weren't at all, but
dictates.
They were dictates, and so that does, concern a little bit. Okay, so let's go to the other side.
Okay,
so if in a situation where one of our, let's say, and I don't want to make a case for it out based off one situation, but like your kid doesn't come home from school,
right.
I mean, you
I
would be like, okay, let's audit the cameras.
Oh, absolutely.
Like immediately. And what that would be the option down here at Woodrow Wilson. Your kid, I mean, you would take all of your thoughts on being surveilled and whatnot,
right,
out the door if
right.
your kid didn't show up, or your kid
right
took off with somebody in a car or whatever it be.
Absolutely.
You would say,
so
audit those cameras.
So that's why I don't think they'll go away. I don't think banning them makes sense. but you can't use that
No.
as a justification
No.
to have every part of our lives videotaped without our consent. And I know folks say, yeah, hey, you're on a public road, you should be able to. And I partially agree with that, because I do think you're traveling down a road, public streets and highways, you do have an understanding that somebody's going to be watching me. I mean, why are we looking around for cops if we're going over the speed limit? It's because we expect someone to be watching us to see if we, so I kind of understand that. I just think I think we need some kind of, well, because here's the flip side, and there's cops who've abused this.
Yeah.
They think their wife's cheating on them, so they go look at the flock cameras to see.
There's
There's
some lawsuits going on right now.
So we need boundaries. We need boundaries for all of it to protect the innocent. But I agree with you. I mean, I don't think anybody's. Well, I say that people are bashing the flock cameras like that's going to do any bit of good. I think the only way to really restrain it is going to be with legality, because if they. I mean, think about with warrants. Warrants do the same thing. So do reading the rights and having a lawyer present and all the things that we have. They are safeguards, because you may have a criminal dead to rights, but if you violated any of those steps that you're supposed to have along the way, like you barged into the house without probable cause and no search warrant, then whatever you find is not going to be admissible in the prosecution of that criminal.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the same kind of thing, I think, for the flock cameras, and I think it already kind of is. It's just a little disturbing.
My fix for it.
Okay,
so
all right.
This is just my Jimmy's thought. So in the medical world, we have an electronic medical record. That electronic medical record contains some of the most sensitive information, and with my sign-on, I have access to it.
Yeah.
So with that ability, comes a very large amount of responsibility.
Right.
I do know with the flock cameras, it tracks every person that signs on, every place they went to look. Now, we actually, and I don't want to grow government at all, but what we have is we have compliance departments that actually look into
spend their
this,
time making sure.
Spend their time. I think since this is much more of, and that's a private entity when they regulate. I mean, we have at the hospital it's called a red rule, so we call it. It does not matter if you were found in a chart you weren't supposed to be in. I don't care if you're the number one employee of the hospital.
You're in trouble.
You're gone.
Wow.
Yeah, it's red rule. We have to terminate them.
Yep.
And so, it would be with this very sensitive public information. I think something along those lines.
Yeah.
But since it's public, this is just my thought. Why not have like a compliance department, and also some type of public counsel who can see it? So if Andrew, police officer, or Andrew, not even a police officer, but just somebody who would have access to it, want to find out what your wife is doing,
right,
or whoever is doing, and they would have the ability to audit all of the records, not just the compliance person, but then also a public committee, just to maintain that sensitivity to that information.
You mean they'll be able to audit not the actual flock cameras, but who's been accessing it and why?
And then it's very similar to how we're accredited at the hospital.
That would be called a Freedom of Information. So it's like the Freedom of Information Act. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So we were able to go in and say who signed off on this warrant, who asked for the warrant, who signed off on it, what judge agreed to it.
But how hard is it actually to do that, though? I mean,
you can do it.
Is it a little bit of a pain to do? Can we make it?
I think you can fill out a form and you can do it and you submit it, but they can
also take
they can take a year or two to get back to you.
Can we do something that's a little bit more
robust,
2026, to where it could be audited quicker if we believe that there's a problem? I would feel better about that, because I mean, we have an accreditation.
You don't think we can just trust the government to always do what's right?
We have like an accreditation. So why wouldn't this council just come through once a month and say, okay, give me a list of everybody who has access. I want to see these 5 people, and we just randomly select them.
Well, so the only problem is that I could see with that is, Jimmy, what if it's an ongoing investigation and stuff can take 2-3 years of developing a pattern, and you do not want to tip off anybody that you're actually actively investigating. So my feeling is that they would. I don't know how. I mean, I think that would be a. So here's the thing: the police department can say, "Oh, that's an active investigation. We can't divulge those 3 people that you just asked for. We can't divulge what they're doing because they're involved in active investigations.
Well, then we
The
put
only
somebody
thing
on
we
the
can show you
inside.
is closed that we no longer need. Here's
Yeah.
what we did." I just think there's a pretty easy way to get around it. I don't know. I think I think it's an interesting debate. The crazy thing is, this is the debate raging right now in the country, and I do think we will have a resolution at some point. And all that has to happen is anybody starts to abuse that power, man, it becomes a national news story, and legal stuff gets involved. I do think we're going to find some guidelines, and when we come back, because we're going to take a break right now, and for our new sponsor, apparently it's
Maison
yeah,
Perret.
yes, absolutely. We will come right back, and we're going to talk about another aspect of this that's also a raging debate, and I think it ties into the whole thing. So,
Okay.
welcome back, everybody. Had to take a break to think about our next subject. Actually,
We're going to cut that.
That's not true. That's not true at all. So, AI
I love it.
and data centers,
Love them.
because they're completely connected. Jimmy is all for 2050 when we are all being run by robots.
Yes.
Me, not so much. So
Okay.
let's take this separately.
Because
let's leave AI off the bat
yeah.
just for a second, and let's talk about data centers, because it again is a hugely controversial issue, because you have a lot of folks that are pushing data centers for the economic development side of it. Sullivan County has one that is breaking ground and being built right now, and there's rumors they're going to have a second one. Vigo County has none. I haven't polled the political leaders. I haven't talked to them in a while, and I don't know if they've actually come out and said one way or the other. My feeling is they would most likely be for it, but I think the people of Vigo County would probably be against it. Okay, so
yeah. I mean, it's really
positives and negatives. I mean, the negatives are really long. They use a lot of electricity, cause your rates to go up.
Why do they cause your rates to go up?
Because the volume that they use is so high.
But that's not my electricity, though.
It's the law of supply and demand. So it's harder for the electric. Yes, the electric companies making money off of it, but they have to build infrastructure to get it to them, and it's just simply the law of supply and demand. The more gas that's used, the higher gas goes. The more electricity is used, the higher the rates go. Although, I mean, they can't really raise rates in Indiana without some kind of an approval from the government, which is it's a whole nother story on itself. But if you think about it, the other issue we have with our electricity in the electrical grid is we're actually kind of maxed. I think we don't produce as much as we should. Is I think one of the issues. So it could be where you begin to. I don't think you would have brownouts like they do in California or anything like that. But I do think, because it's scarce, I think they would need to raise rates to encourage people not to use it as much. Anyway, that is one of the complaints. Electricity, and water is the other one, that they use so much water to cool all of the computers down, because they have to have a ton of water running through there, so your water rates go up. They
What if you're on well?
They also don't bring in. Well, I mean, folks in the country, I wouldn't imagine they would care that much. So
no, because they will. They do. They'll tap
tax,
tap into your well.
Really? Why would they tap into your well?
Oh, they did that over there in the east side of Terre Haute. I mean, so I grew up on well water in Sandcut area.
Mm-hmm.
That aquifer is tapped into by the Sealyville Water Company.
Okay, so your wells go down into the aquifer.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes
So
sense.
then,
Okay.
if they're pulling from those,
Yeah,
then,
it could dry
and
people's wells up. Technically,
it
it
could,
shouldn't,
it
because
shouldn't
the town
dry
would go
them.
dry.
It shouldn't dry them, but it could make them so they have to move their pumps deeper.
So they build these massive buildings. They usually buy land in the country. They employ very few people, maybe a couple hundred at the most. They're huge buildings, but I don't think it's not about people. It's about the massive banks of computers and all that they're putting in there. Um, Negatives, continued negatives, but the flip side that I've heard, and so the Trump administration is for data centers. Braun has said, I mean, we're trying to force them to pay for produce their own electricity, generate their own electricity, so to mitigate the damage or the harm that it does to the rest of the community.
Mm-hmm.
But China is in this race with the United States or the rest of the world with AI, and they need these data centers to pull it off. And if we don't win that, China wins that, and that's really what that's what the national interest in this is.
Okay. We don't want to get beat by China
That's what
because they'll
we don't want to get
control.
beat by China. But then you're like, but what is China doing that we're competing with them for? You throw in, so AI is becoming a problem.
Maybe.
No, it's becoming a problem. So Anthropic, which maybe just Anthropic's becoming a problem, but they had that sandbox. You heard about this, right?
No.
They had this sandbox where they're testing two of their AIs, and they're competing the two AIs in a sandbox, cut off from the internet, competing against each other. And each of the AIs would get a prize or like tokens in their little electronic world for completing these benchmarks. And so they gave them both two problems. Well, they broke out of the sandbox, hacked into a private company to win the contest. And then they're like, really sorry. We They totally broke through the sandbox, destroyed, absolutely fooled the whatever virus software or whatever AI defense software the company had, hacked into them and whatever without Anthropic's knowledge. So they come back later and they said, well, actually that incident happened, and now we've had 8 other separate instances of different companies being hacked, totally like they're not telling this AI program to go do that. It's doing it on its own because it sees it as a way to win whatever task that they've given it. So we have a huge problem because we're at a tipping point of not being able to control these things. Glenn Beck's run a story, and it's very true also, where these Anthropic, I think, is the other one. I mean, not the other one. Anthropic is involved in this story as well, where they're buying up all of these used rare books. I mean, by the thousands, chopping the splines off of them, scanning them into their software, and then destroying them. And their concern, Glenn Beck's concern, is that we're moving more and more towards a digital age where we're not even going to have a physical book anymore. And that's really a problem because, first of all, anybody that's dealt with AI at all, it's glaringly inaccurate too many times. And for them to be having all the classics, all these whatever it is, no matter how rare the book is, I mean, they're cutting the spline off, scanning it in, how quickly and how easily they can change that. And now our knowledge is compromised. What we know is becoming compromised eventually down the road. It's becoming a serious concern. And I don't know. I mean, you couple that with the surveillance states, and then you throw AI in there that is, I mean, Anthropic is the company that the Pentagon kicked out prior to this Iran war. Because, and this is the thing, we let them come in, they do so many great things, and suddenly they get to a point where they're calling the shots and we're not anymore. And that's what they tried to pull with the Pentagon. So basically, they told the Pentagon that you cannot use our software to fire on a certain group of people, period. And we were like, because it was against their liberal dogma that, the U.S. would be an aggressor in something. Now, that is none of their business. The restraint that we have on our military is called through the people at the ballot box. And the President of the United States is commander in chief for a reason, because he is an elected person, not a dictator. An unelected software CEO should not be allowed to call anything on where our missiles go or what they do. I mean, and he can spout all kinds of self-righteous, sanctimonious reasonings. It does not matter. So they got him out, and the guy lost billions and billions of dollars. This is the company that does Claude. I don't know if you've heard of Claude, but Anthropic.
Claude, yeah.
Yeah, so Anthropic and ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, Claude, they're all from Anthropic. So we're at Odyssey 2001, where Hal the computer is not turning stuff off, and that's like, but you're not concerned at all. I don't want to hear this.
No,
Where are we headed with this?
Well, I'm not taking the bait. We'll just say that.
Is it bait? What
I
am
think
I
it
trying
is.
to bait?
I think it's a bait. So, as you're talking about all these different things,
yeah,
I'm thinking about how much more important in the upcoming years the human connection is going to be.
It's true.
And how much more the spoken word is going to be. Not me talking to you over telephone, but me making the connection to you face to face. Because that is going to be the true. That's going to be where authentic truth comes through. And it's almost like when and I don't know about COVID, but back to COVID, when we disconnected and we did all that different crazy ludicrous things. We're coming, and as this stuff starts to grow, the connection of face to face, which really is the God-given connection that we've been given.
Right.
You put somebody in isolation by themselves. We're not made as human beings to function that way.
Nope.
But we've been on this slow drift that direction. And that's where I see that the current generation coming up with this.
So you see a backlash, basically. A little bit of a backlash to this.
I see what the enemy meant for evil.
Right.
Jimmy
is an eternal. You are an eternal optimist.
Yes, I am.
And I'm optimistic too, but you are even more optimistic.
I can see the path of this being.
I'm glad. I hope everything you think happens. I really do. I don't think it'll. So here's what I will say. You read biblical prophecy, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a section of scripture that's been fulfilled. So we can look at what the Bible said was going to happen, and then we can see it fulfilled. When you read future prophecies of things that have not yet occurred, or we don't think they've occurred, or if they've occurred, we're not really sure, that kind of confusion, but we do know there's prophecy yet to be fulfilled. If the prophecy has not been fulfilled yet, you read that prophecy and it looks incredibly dark. It looks incredibly scary. It looks, oh my gosh, earth-shattering. When you go back and look at the prophecies that have happened, and you see them occur, you're like, it happened exactly like God said it was, but it wasn't nearly as dark as you would think. There actually was a lot of good things that happened then, and actually, that occurred, but it wasn't. So here's what I'm going to say. It's going to be worse and better, if that makes sense. When in the prophecy, I mean, like what's coming in the future it will not be the worst case scenario. And actually, I do want to talk about this a little bit too in one more subject, but it's not as dark as you think. So to your point,
yeah,
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah,
it's not as dark as you think. However, it is maybe. I mean, who would have thought we'd be at this place?
So what did you describe that as? You described it as
so
dark, but not.
So at times it can be worse than what is prophesied and better all at the
Worse
same
and
time.
better. Okay.
So it's the feeling is like you get the prophecies in Revelation. Let's just talk about those, not in detail because nobody understands them really. I mean, there are people that say they do, but okay, that's great.
They write books,
right?
and
That's
people buy
wonderful.
them.
Yeah, and you can read them. But and so even if you take the Left Behind series, which was their interpretation of Revelation and everything, it's super dark. I mean, it really is. You got the Christians all smiley and being massacred. You've got this horrible beast person that and so there's all of society has turned, and so you've got a lot of things that are very dark. Well, when it actually happens, it's not probably going to happen like that. It just won't. And you've always got pockets. I mean, if someone were to give a prophecy of World War II, for example, oh my gosh, Jimmy, you would think we were living in a desert destroyed by A-bombs. I mean, it would just be, if it was an actual prophecy. But what you actually went through was there were places and pockets of terribleness, and there were places and pockets of relatively calm. And yes, it did shift the whole world, but in the end, we all survived, and good came out of it. And I think I think to your point, there's a redemptive purpose of God in all of these things. That even what the enemy meant for evil, let's say take the internet. I mean, when the internet first started, the possibilities were terrible, actually. And most people looked at it and went, I don't think, I mean, most Christians looked at it and went, I don't think the end result of this is going to be good. Like, what else could be good? That's true. And it's also not true.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of good that has come from it, as well as bad. So I think it's always such a mixed bag that it's not easy to just. Does that make sense? Am I making sense at all?
It makes perfect sense. No, it's like the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is already and not yet.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the same way.
Yeah.
But our minds want to put it into one or two of those categories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always.
So, am I for data centers? Yeesh. Not really, but I'm not as adamant against them as a lot of folks are. But I mean, my brother's got a bunch going down in San Antonio, Texas. They're having a bunch there, and they're seeing property taxes go up through the roof because the value of property goes up because these companies are buying all the land. It's just supply and demand. It's literally supply and demand, and it's causing the increases. I think it's unfortunate, but here's I guess what I want to say about that. Okay, so they invented the car, and you're fighting the car. You love your horse and buggy. You just love it. I mean, and there's just no way you don't have to pay money. Well, you do. You have to feed them, but hey, this is the way to go. I'm sorry, the car's coming. I mean, it's like I don't like it either, and there's some problems with it, but it is what's happening worldwide.
Yeah.
So I do think the best possibility is, again, finding some restrictions, maybe making them produce their own electricity, finding a way to mitigate the harm that they do to the communities, but also finding a way to maybe facilitate it, because honestly, it is an international race that we are involved in. I do want America to be a part of it. I do want America to win it because we're a good country. I want us to be setting the rules for any of this stuff that's running the world, to be honest.
That's a good point.
So I mean, people sticking their head in the sand and don't want any data centers or any flock cameras. I'm like, find restrictions. Let's get some safeties in guard.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this is the world we're growing up in. This is what's happening.
Yeah,
we got to deal with reality with it. So that's what I'm. And I wasn't paid by any data center to say that.
But this is the whole thing. We were put here on this planet during this 100 years of time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're 100 years old, and I'm not.
Gonna be. I'm gonna be. The Isaiah 65 prophecy. Okay. Where if you die before you're, before 100, you're considered a young man.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But I do think we're here at this time.
Yeah.
And exactly what you said. Putting your head in the sand is taking a mandate or taking a privilege that you have to be here.
Yeah.
And throwing it away.
Yeah.
Burying it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that doesn't mean you just kind of just let everything kind of go, but no, you learn about it.
Yeah.
You find out ways to improve it.
Yeah.
And to fight evil that comes from it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we can do.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of a fulfillment, a little bit of the prophecy in Daniel that said in the end time, knowledge would increase and people will go to and fro.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just an exponential explosion of knowledge is what's happening right now, and it is scary. It is
well,
scary.
and I'll tell you, just the use of AI is inside the workforce is absolutely, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, just for tasks of writing and producing mindless documents,
Yeah.
it does it in seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
And yeah, you can put that stuff out. If you want to look at my mindless document, here it is.
Right.
And I really think the future of like the written word when
Yeah.
it comes to, or the typed word, is gonna be diminished. And how do I get things done? Is I'm gonna have a face-to-face conversation with you,
Right.
and that's how the deal is gonna be done.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch you sign something. I'm not gonna be sending things back and forth. And yeah, we might say it'd slow things down, but I think it's back to our original design.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. I'm going to let Jimmy finish with all the contact details, but please like and subscribe, share this. We only have 89 subscribers. And I say only 89. I appreciate every single one of you, 89 people.
Yeah.
More than 89 people watch these videos and listen to these podcasts. But we would really appreciate if you're not too embarrassed to like and subscribe. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Are you embarrassed to subscribe to the MC2 podcast channel? Is
And
that what
maybe
it
they don't
is?
feel like they can like it unless they watch the whole thing or something.
Oh, that's okay.
If you just like the first conversation, just give it a like.
Yeah, give it a like, and also go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And we are only about 5,000 subscribers away from being monetized.
No, you get monetized 1,000. So
okay, so we're only 900.
About 900 away. 911. Wow, there you go. We're 911 away, guys.
Yeah.
So be one of the 911.
Yeah.
We're in an emergency right now. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you. And make sure if you want to email us, themcsquaredpodcast@gmail.com. You can also comment below if you have any questions, comments, or rebuttals.
Yeah.
Go for it. We're
Absolutely.
okay with it. Even if you don't like what we talk about, hey, it's nice to have comments.
It is.
People watching.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.